This is what we're discussing. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, verse 1. So the word shepherd, which I don't pronounce very well, is the Hebrew word H7462, and it is pronounced, and pardon my pronunciation, Ra, Ra, to tend a flock. That's what this means in Hebrew. To pasture it, to graze, and it's also incorporates the concept of being a companion, to keep company with. And what does the word? So that's what shepherd is. What is a pasture? A pasture is a land covered with grass and other lowland plants suitable for grazing animals, especially cattle or sheep. And what is grazing? Well, grazing is just uh, the concept of feeding animals in a certain specific spot. And there's different types of grazing. There's continuous grazing. This is like free range grazing. That's basically you just open up the barn or wherever you have your animals and they go eat wherever, and then when they're done they come back. That's actually very inefficient. And then there you have rotational grazing, where you release the animals in a specific area, and then that way when they're done eating in that area, the next day you'll move them in, or the next week you'll move them into another plot of land, and that keeps the soil a little bit better, because if you just let it go out, it's the animals are not gonna eat in specific areas. So you really have to think, the shepherd really has to think how he's going to feed the sheep, what method of grazing, and not only what method, where is it safe. So that it all encompasses what it means to be a shepherd. And there's so many more different types of grazing. Let's go through a few of them. There goes rotational, which is subdivided lots or plots. Strip grazing is basically you put an animal and then you put an electric fence so they won't go over to where they're not belonging to. And there's mob grazing, where it's like you release a ton of animals in a small area. And I think that's probably one of the worst ways to do it, but there is some benefits to it. And that one requires more labor, and the nutrition is not as good because you have a bunch of animals in a small area and they're not going to get everything that they want. Then there's creek grazing. This is for little animals, for the babies. Yeah, there's a special door that they go through, and they have a special area where they can feed. And then multi-species grazing is very interesting. It helps the animals because different animals focus on different types of grass. So you may have, alfalfa, and you have some weeds, but the cows are only gonna eat the alfalfa, so the weeds keep growing. So that's why you release goats and sheep, so they can target certain types of the area, so they can consume as much before you move them on to the other area. And you can combine all these. So being a shepherd requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of thoughtful decision making on what you're going to do with your sheep. Now, the other thing is the part where it says, "I shall not want." Want means to lack, by implication to fail. But this one says, "I shall not want." That means we shall not fail. And what is the case of that? Well, why does this all matters? The shepherd, which is Jesus, is not just throwing us out there into the world. And when you believe in Jesus, He is with you and He is watching over you. He is your companion. He is selecting the pasture, the land, the grazing area where you are going to be fed the most, where you're going to grow the most, whether you are a child or whether you are mature in your faith. He's going to put you where you need to be. And sometimes that might feel like you're being restricted, but in reality, it's for your own benefit. And that's happened to me. I recently, a few years ago, tried to force something and I ended up getting hurt. And that caused me a lot. And what by I mean hurt, I hurt my foot and I wasn't able to walk for almost 2, 3 years until just maybe early last year. I started walking, early 2023. So in 2020, I got hurt, early 2023, I'm starting to walk, and now I go to the gym every day. Well, not every day, but I go to the gym 3 times a day and I walk every day. And if I did not get hurt, if I did things my own way, I would have lost so many opportunities. At the time, it was the worst thing that had ever happened in my life because a lot of things happened to me to force things to be going my way, but God stopped me by hurting my foot. And if I didn't hurt my foot, I would not have gotten my education. There's so many things that I would have missed out if I would have done things my way. And I would be in a much worse spot than if I would be in a much worse spot if I did things my way and God didn't stop me. So in essence, the Lord is my shepherd encompasses a lot. He's thinking about you, he's your companion, and he's watching over you, and he's putting you in the best place where you can feed and grow depending on your maturity level. So don't fight the Lord. Let him be your shepherd. And I shall not want because of everything that he's done, because of the way that he is situated you and his thoughtfulness of where you need to eat, how he's looking over you. You cannot fail because he is our companion and he is watching over you. So that is the lecture for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that.